For years, the benchmark for luxury sports sedans was the BMW 3 Series, and I completely agree. In fact, I owned an E92 335 Xi Coupe with a 6-speed manual transmission. One car that I wish I never would have gotten rid of, one of my favorite cars of all time that I've owned. However, it's gone now. So when BMW decided to electrify the sports sedan, they actually had some big boots to fill. Would this new EV actually have the same driving dynamics that are synonymous to the BMW brand, which made me love my BMW 3 Series so much? And how would it compare with other EVs, considering that this i4 here is built off of a legacy platform, off of a gas variant, not a dedicated EV platform like the i3 or the iX? Well, we're going to find out today with this 2025 i4 xDrive40. Let's go. Out of all the BMW EVs, one of my favorites, I think, in terms of styling, it has to be the i4. I just think it just has the best proportions to it. This color is called Cape York Green Metallic, by the way. I think it works very well, especially with this matte honeycomb kidney grille. And you know what? People criticize this new kidney grille to be overly large. I think they've done a good job here because they've actually cut out a third of it on the bottom, and that's your airflow. This part's solid. Then you have airflow with active air curtains underneath here. Nice side curtains on the side, and the LED lamps here have been revised. So now the LED lamp is a combo high and low beam, so it makes it for a more compact design, and you also have these 2 arrow marker lights as well. It looks really good when it's all lit up. Optional, you can get adaptive lighting on here. If you do opt for that, you actually get the laser tail lights along with it. Standard 18-inch wheels, or you can opt for 19-inch wheels. These are the double-spoked aero wheels. Personally, I would actually go for just the plain Y pattern 19-inch. That's personal preference. It's not an aero wheel, so you're gonna jeopardize a little bit of range, but I'm good with that. I think they just kind of look better than these ones, but yeah, not a bad looking wheel. I just like the Y better. In case you're wondering, hey, if this is a 4 Series, why does it have 4 doors? Because normally the odd numbers are the 4 doors and the even numbers are the 2 doors. Well, because this is a Grand Coupe. Anyways, I've been a fan of this design since it came out, mainly because you get the convenience of having a 4-door, and you also get the bonus of the utility of the hatch in a sportier looking package. Being that this is a Grand Coupe, you have this sloping rear, and it does have this sportback type of look. Nice swooping tail lamps. Everything is quite simple and kind of elegant, and it doesn't just scream out, I'm an EV, and that's one of the best parts I like about the i4. Like I said, it has good proportions. You do get a power lift gate. Up it comes. Open it up, and you'll see you have this large opening. It's not just like a trunk where you actually have to go up and into it. Big, huge opening. This piece actually comes out, so you can see there's even more space on top there, but this is a nice cover to hide things. Have my 31-liter Provoke bag. Underneath the floor, you'll see this one is equipped with a Harman Kardon subwoofer, and you have your charging cable right there for your charger. When you're ready to close up, you have a lock button, or you do have hands-free as well. The inside of the new i4 is really on point in my opinion, even more so than the latest X3 that we just tested. I thought that one was just trying a little bit too hard, just like the exterior. This is it's a nice conservative design, yet there's a little bit of futuristic tech that's thrown into a nice BMW interior. Good quality materials that you would find. I like the different colors and the contrast of the materials here. You do get some futuristic touches on here, like this wide curved screen that you're seeing on more BMWs right now. Really clear, easy to use. This is the latest iDrive 8.5 system. We can just go and check out our different apps. It's very, very easy to navigate. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here. And you get lots of real estate because it's a nice wide screen. This one has the Premium Enhanced package, so that also gives you the backup camera with a 360 view. I love that. You can see you can move the cameras around. However, this is only available with that Premium Enhanced package. Also, backup assistant on there. There's our 360 view if we want. We have a little bit of dark wood trim on here, and below that, there's some under lighting and a little bit of that geo graphic that we've seen on the outside on the grille there. It's not too much though, that's what I like about it. And once again, I love the different contrasts in colors with this. All the HVAC controls are done through the screen now. You can also control with the controller right here, the iDrive controller, and you have a nice home button and media. So nice and easy, as well as your gear selector and your drive settings all there. Those are actual buttons, and that's always welcome. Always been a fan of BMW sports seats. They're comfortable, good for everyday driving, yet they still provide enough support for a little bit of spirited driving support. It's not something that's going to really hold you in tight, but that's good for everyday drives. These are heated. We have a heated steering wheel, by the way. This is a 3-spoke steering wheel. Standard is a 2, but if you go for the M Sport package, you get the 3-spoke steering wheel. But no ventilation on these front seats. That is a separate standalone option, as is a garage door controller. All right, in the back seat of the i4, there's actually more room than it actually looks like. You see, this seat here is set to where I would actually sit. I'm almost 5'11" for a reference, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of room back here. However, they've carved back, and I noticed this even on my 335 that I had, there was actually decent amount of room. It wasn't the easiest to get in and out of because it was a 2-door, but there was ample space for passengers for the back, and same goes for this. Okay, we have room for my knees. My feet fit comfortably underneath the driver's seat, and this area here above my head has been carved out, giving me, you know, I've got that much room before my head would hit there. Of course, there's no adjustment for tilting forward and back, but yeah, it's not bad at all. But love the finishes on here and the speaker grills and the door pulls. You do have a climate control system back here. There are no heated rear seats on this. That, once again, is another option. All right, now the most important thing of a BMW is the drive. So there are 4 trims and 4 power plants for the i4. The first being the base, and that is the xDrive40. That has a smaller battery, and it's only rear-wheel drive. It gives you 286 horsepower. Then we go up from that to a larger battery for the xDrive40. And that's going to give you an 84.3 kilowatt hour battery, and that's still rear-wheel drive, but the horsepower is bumped up to 335 horses. Then the next one up would be what we're driving here. I think this is going to be a very popular one in Canada, especially because this is the xDrive40. Same battery, but you have the additional motor and a bump in power, 396 horsepower and 443 pounds of torque. Then you get the top dog, which is your M50 xDrive. That still has the same size battery, all-wheel drive, but more power, the most power at 544 horsepower. That'll make a run to 60 miles an hour from 0 in just 3.7 seconds. But this i5 is no slouch. Let's go. Oh, you can just feel that traction on the front. That was well above 60, okay? Really, really nice power delivery there. You can hear the iconic sound. Yeah, the only thing missing would be some gears, and that's one thing I loved about my E92 335 was it had a 6-speed manual transmission. But that power delivery is so positive. Just the way that it's not just instant, but you just feel very connected. And that's what BMW is known for in their driving dynamics. And that's what I love about BMWs. It just has that connection that you get. Sure, there are a lot of other vehicles that have that connection as well. But, you know, you're not paying an arm and a leg for this. There we go. Whew, yeah. Yep. Nice. Now you can actually control that sound and turn it on or off as well. 84.3 kilowatt hour battery, the bigger one, other than the base xDrive40, has a max charging rate of 205 kilowatts, which is very, very quick. And yeah, and of course it has level 2 and level 1 charging as well. Now, when we talk about range, of course, you think the rear wheel drive, a larger battery, which is that xDrive40, will have the longest range, and being all-wheel drive with more power, you're going to sacrifice a lot. But on paper, it's actually very comparable for the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive. So that's actually really good. There's not much compromise at all. Of course, when you get into the big M50, more power, you're gonna use more range. That's a given. But yeah, we are talking for the rear-wheel drive xDrive, you're about 480 kilometers. So really, really decent. And this one just a little bit less. So for a real world with 100% charge, we were showing 386 kilometers. But you know, it's kind of a guesstimator on these EVs. A lot of the time, that's how it is. So right now we're still showing 380, but we've driven like 30 kilometers already. So yeah, you know, it's all going to depend on how you drive and what the conditions are. So if you want to get the most efficiency, you can always put it into Eco Pro. Of course, that's going to reduce your performance, but you're going to actually, you know, be really thrifty with your electrons. As well, you have regen braking, and to actually adjust that, there are no paddle shifters on the steering wheel like some manufacturers have, but you can go through the menu and change that. Or if you do want, if you go with the gear selector and just pull down once, and it'll go from D for drive into B. All right, now B for braking regen. Now I just let my foot right off the throttle and it came to a complete stop. So now you have one pedal driving. Just let off, lots of regen, and there's an arrow that's indicating the regen there. Not a fan of regen myself, kind of makes me sick. So I like to turn that off. Love the fact that you actually have an option at least. So thank you, BMW, for that. Now this i4 comes standard with rear axle air suspension as well as adaptive suspension, and that's standard. You can adjust that in your sport, your individual settings. I have on sport individual right now, and it does make a big difference. I love the fact that they have included that. It just really does enhance the dynamics of the drive and the feel. We are going through some twisties here. Brakes are very progressive, and that's important if you want something in a sports sedan. I have the regen set at the lowest right now, so we're using as much friction brake as possible. There's a tiny little bit of regen, but it's almost unnoticeable. Throw it into the corners here or even high-speed sweepers. Feels very stable. You have an electric assisted steering, but there is still a decent amount of feedback here. And the weight of the steering is quite good. It's not too heavy, and of course it's not too light. It's just right. All right, so what are my pros and cons of this i4? Number one, I think the styling is on point. As I mentioned, you know, this is built off a legacy platform. It's like a 3 or 4 series. It's not wow looking. I think it's very proportional. And yeah, it does have some futuristic touches, something that's out of the norm. For instance, if you're looking at a classic BMW, but you still have that signature kidney grille. It's not oversized. I think it's actually nicely styled. The whole vehicle is nicely styled. The interior is a mixture of, you know, of a classic BMW, what you would expect, and the door handles and the panels, mixed with a little bit of futurism with the curved screen, but it's not trying that hard. Sure, there's a little bit of the geo pattern that we've seen on other vehicles. And the second pro of this is the drive. the steering input, the brake feel, the adaptive suspension, the power delivery. You add it all together and it still is a BMW. And I love the fact that, you know, they've retained that. That's what BMWs are known for. It's that connected drive. And you do get that with this i4 for sure. What a great drive this is. Now on the downside, nothing major at all. This is a luxury premium vehicle, so it's not inexpensive. And, you know, that's not a surprise. But a lot of features are a la carte. They're options, or you need to buy packages for some things that are kind of normally included nowadays on some vehicles, such as, you know, a heated steering wheel, especially in Canada, that's normally standard, as well as adaptive radar cruise control. Both of those things do not come standard with this i4. You either have to buy it a la carte or in a package. This is equipped with a premium enhanced package, which is just over $9,000. It's going to give you things like the Harman Kardon audio system, the head-up display, for instance, as well as the surround view camera, a 360 camera. And that's pretty important. I think I love having a 360 camera, and yeah, I just wish that you could actually get it even on a lower trim or something. But yeah, you'd have to get that package. But that package, once again, does come with a lot of things. So most people will probably opt for that package. So yeah, not a lot to really complain about this vehicle. All right, to wrap it up, I've said it before and I'll say it again. BMW makes some excellent EVs. And I'm really not sure why more people don't consider BMW when they're shopping for an EV. Because, you know what, whether it's the i3, the 4, the 5, the 7, or the iX, all great vehicles. We've tested all of them. They drive great. They've got great style. iX might be a little bit avant-garde for someone, and you know what, if you actually compare this to some of the other EVs in the same, let's say, size, like let's say the Tesla Model 3 or the Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6, the base xDrive35 starts in the mid 50s for here. And by the time you're watching this, Tesla in Canada, they're raising the price of the Model 3 by $9,000, which makes us comparable to a Model 3. It all depends on what trim you're gonna get. But this is a BMW, it's a premium vehicle, much nicer interior, hands down, way more appointed, more comfortable, I would say for sure. Just, you know, the ride quality is better as well. And yeah, so I'm really surprised that you don't see this. And as I said before, this is like the best of both of my favorites, you know, a 3 or 4 Series BMW. I love the size of it, and electric vehicle like we have, and you mix it together and you're gonna get this i4. And you can get all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Only thing missing is a 6-speed manual transmission. Would love to see that. Maybe one day. That's just really gonna complete the whole package for me. Yeah, one other thing that I'd like to try though one day is also that M50 xDrive. Yeah, that one would be a beast, a lot for the street. So BMW, if you have any type of programs on a track, hey, I'm volunteering right here. Anyways, that's it for us in the new BMW i4. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next Everyday Review. Ciao.